Hello friends, welcome to Battery and Power Management for IoT Devices Part 2. I am Bappa and today we will see how to measure current flow using a multimeter and then how to calculate battery life and estimate how long a device will run with the battery using milliamp hour calculations, and also we will see how we can enhance battery life using some hardware and software modifications. So let's begin. So now let us have a look how to measure current. Okay, so say this is your circuit, this is the plus supply, this is the minus supply, this may be a battery or maybe a other power source. Okay, so if your current goes like this, your wire, and here is your load and this is the complete circuit, then to measure current flow you need to take this whole current into the whole current flowing here to your ammeter, or the thing we are using here is a multimeter like we are using here. Okay, we will be using this multimeter. So what we need to do, either in the plus side or in the minus side, we need to divert this current. So we will cut the circuit here, we will put our multimeter here, the red lead here, okay, and the black lead here, and connect here. Okay, so that is we are making the whole current flow through ammeter and then come here. Okay, so that way we measure current. So if there is another load in parallel and you don't want to measure the whole current but only the current that is flowing through this load, if you are trying to measure this current, okay, in this load, then you don't put the multimeter here, you cut out this part and you connect here. Okay, so this is the way we measure current flow. So you can have a look what we have done here. The battery positive I have given to this red lead. Okay, battery positive to red lead, and then the black lead goes to the other part of the circuit. So this black lead ends here, will go to the current supply to the device. Okay, supply current to the device, and the device common I will put this battery negative to the device common. Okay, so the battery negative here, I will put in the device negative. Okay, so this is the setup we have done. So the code that we are going to use today is this. So we are reading analog voltage in analog pin of our microcontroller, either ESP32 or ESP8266. Use A0 for ESP8266 and 34 for Wishtri board ESP32. Okay, and then what we'll do, you are defining a sleep time which is 15 seconds, and we'll be using this ID and password for our router, Wi-Fi router. Then this is the device name which is defined here. Then what we'll do in the setup, we first start the serial, then we are connecting to Wi-Fi. So all the Wi-Fi functionality is moved to a separate folder called Wi-Fi.cpp. So this is the way you can keep your main program very clean. So how to split your program into separate files like .cpp and header files, I will teach in a different tutorial later. Okay, so this is done to keep this main file very concise and clear. Okay, and then in main loop you will be reading the analog in value and save it in reading in variable. Okay, and we are creating this URL to post to our portal. This is the HTTP API call. So if you are not aware how to do that in our portal, WiseThings portal, please refer to this video number 3 in our IoT tutorial channel. Okay, so video number 3 explain it all, how to use the API, how to post your data to our portal. Okay, and then we are doing a request URL. So we are sending this data to our portal. So that is also sent to a separate file. So you see here is the function. So and the header mention that. Okay, so they stitch together. So our main file remain very clear. And then after this is sent, we go to sleep. Okay, so this is the program we are using. Okay, so now let us see how this code works. I turn on the serial monitor and I reset the device, so it wakes up, connecting to Wi-Fi, connected, receive the IP address, now connecting to our API server, api.wisethings.com, send data 789, and received reply from the server. Okay, and now going to sleep. Okay, gone to sleep for 15 seconds and it will come back again after 15 seconds. Okay, so we will now see what kind of current it consume in each stage, like connecting to Wi-Fi, then sending data, receiving reply, and then in deep sleep. Okay, so we'll do that in 4 different hardware. One is on Wistry board, ESP32, and another Wistry board ESP8266, and one in Node MCU, and one in a bare ESP8266, and we'll see what kind of current it consume and what are the pros and cons. Okay, so let's go there. So now let us start taking the measurements. So this is a Wistry board with ESP8266 mount. Okay, the connections at explained is done already. Battery positive to red terminal of the multimeter, and black terminal goes into positive side of the device, and the negative side of the device is connected to the battery negative. Okay, so before you switch on the device, it is necessary you make the multimeter setting right. I set it to 200 milliamp. Okay, don't first switch on the device, then turn the knob of the multimeter, because that can cause some damage to the multimeter. So now it is, once it is in this position, you can switch it on. Okay, so now let us see the current measurements. We will note them down also. So it is around 80 milliamp when it is connecting to Wi-Fi and sending data to the server. Okay, but there are spikes of up to 250 milliamp, which is not detectable by multimeter. You need to use a CRO or DSO for that. But maybe in an average we can consider 80 milliamp is when it is connecting to Wi-Fi and sending data. And now it has gone to deep sleep, and now it is consuming 9.1 milliamp of current, which is quite high for a deep sleep mode. Okay, so we'll note that down. Okay, so let me start taking note here. So Wistry ESP8266 when Wi-Fi 80 milliamp, when deep sleep it is 9.1 milliamp. Okay, so we'll take note for each of one of them. So we are now doing the same thing for a Node MCU board. Okay, so we can see it is now running 80 milliamp when connecting to Wi-Fi and sending data. So please keep in mind, Node MCU had no start on off, switch on off button. So keep this knob in the right position before you plug in the wires here. Okay, so 10 milliamp in deep sleep, we have already updated that here. 10.1 milliamp in deep sleep from Node MCU, and it's around 80 again when it is connecting to Wi-Fi and sending data. Okay, it is, so we are not picking the spike. As I said earlier, you need a CRO or DSO. It can go up to 250 milliamp at times. Okay, so now let us move to another board. So now we have come to another ESP8266 board, which is a very bare minimum ESP8266 board. This takes around 72, 73. So I have written kind of 75 milliamp when connecting to Wi-Fi and sending data, and see 0.1 milliamp, and even sometimes it reports 0 when in sleep. So maybe in microamp range we can see something. So it is around 20 microamp. Okay, during sleep. The bare ESP8266 board. Okay, so we write 20 microamp here. Okay, so we write 20 microamp here. So this is really a huge improvement, because 10 times less current in deep sleep means 10 times more life. Okay, if the device is sleeping more, right? Okay, so we'll come to that. Sorry, I faced a trouble while trying with this. It was not sleeping properly, so we will not have data for now. So we will compare only 3 types of ESP8266. One is on the Wistry board, one is bare ESP8266, and one is Node MCU board. Okay, so first let's know how to calculate estimate your battery life. You cannot really calculate your battery life, you estimate it. So say a device like a GPS tracker, which is always on. Okay, so it will continue to consume 80 milliamp. Okay, so say if your battery is having capacity, so you get battery capacity in milliamp hour. Okay, like this. So say you have something like this, like here it says minimum 1900. Okay, So in that kind of case you can consider up to 1800, 90% of it. So if it is 1900, you can take 90% of it will work. Okay. So, and if you do not have a minimum capacity of battery given, so it's better to just make it 65% of it for calculation purpose. Yeah, for any batteries like LiPo, lithium ion, or anything. Okay. And then the simple calculation is number of estimated hour is equal to total milliamp hour is there in battery and divided by milliamp. So this milliamp goes out and you get the hour that the device will run. Now so if I consider 80 milliamp, so if you are using a this 90% of it, say it is 1800, so your battery run will 1800 by 80, so it's kind of 25 hour. Okay, but actually it won't run 25 hour. Why? One case is the GPS tracker actually work with the GSM module that don't work with Wi-Fi. So GSM takes a lot of more current, but say consider it is now the GPS is working on Wi-Fi. So why you don't get 25 hour? Because sometimes this estimate is not right. Sometimes your LiPo and lithium ion, they have no credibility. And the next thing is, you can see battery life curves like this. Okay, so the amount, so this is the life. Okay, in this axis this is the life, and this is the voltage in this axis. So this is near 3.7 volt, which is nominal volt for lithium ion or LiPo battery. Okay, so what happens, what this three curves says, this is the higher consumption rate curve, lower and even lower. So the theory is like this: if you consume at a higher rate, if your consumption rate is high, you don't, if the battery has got this much of capacity and your consumption rate is very high, like you are consuming very fast, then you cannot consume the whole capacity of your battery. But if you are consume at a slower rate, more and more you can eat up of the battery. So if you are consuming at very fast rate, like 250 milliamp per hour, okay, you can use up, if your battery is 1500 milliamp hour, you will be able to eat up only maybe 1000 of it. If you are consuming at lower rate, maybe at only 50 milliamp per hour, you will be able to consume much more than this, almost closely to the whole battery. So this is one thing. Okay, so please keep that in mind. And then there is another case when you are going to deep sleep, or you are going to you are working intermittently. Okay, so in that case the deep sleep current is very important. So what happens in that case? So when you switch on, your current consumption, if this is current consumption, okay, and this is the time. Okay, so as in our example, the Wi-Fi is only up to here. This is the Wi-Fi connection and data transfer, receive and all. Once this is done, it goes to sleep mode. Okay, continue to sleep and then again turn up, and it goes like this. So how long the battery will last mostly depend on the longer your sleep duration, the better will be your life when you have a very low consumption of current when you are into deep sleep. Because this is not a very long duration, though you are consuming around 80 milliamp during this time, but this is say for 15 seconds or 20 seconds. Okay, but this is maybe hours. So main consideration is deep sleep. So how can you optimize your current during deep sleep using hardware and software? Let us see that. So these are the three boards for which we have compared the current in Wi-Fi mode and in deep sleep mode. Okay, so we have found this on Wistry board ESP8266, and the Node MCU1 is comparably same. Why? Because their hardware is almost same. One is bigger in size, one is smaller in size. Okay, but their hardware is almost same. Okay, and this one is considerably low, like 20 microamp, not even in milliamp range. So why it can give you such a nice deep sleep battery current. So what is the difference? First, if you see this is the USB to TTL transformer. Okay, so you cannot cut this off. So this works with this USB. When you program the board, it takes your code and convert it to TTL and flash the board. Okay, also you can do serial communication through this, and this board doesn't have that. Okay, you need a programmer to code this board. Okay, but now you see the current consumption during deep sleep. So during deep sleep, even during deep sleep, this thing is consuming up current. This has got some quiescent current. Quiescent current is the current needed even when it is doing nothing. Okay, so it doesn't have such a baggage. Okay, so there's a huge difference in current consumption. The next thing would be, you'd see the voltage regulator. This is a AMS 1117 voltage regulator. The good thing of this is it can give you very good current, like up to max 500 milliamp. So this will not, the chip will not suffer a low current shock, because the regulator is capable of supplying higher current. And this has got is a different regulator. You can see it is here. It can give only 250 milliamp, but it is a very low quiescent current. So there is the trade-off. So it can give only 250 milliamp at max. So if your current consumption is within 250 milliamp, you don't need more than that. So you can customize your board for that, and you have a very low quiescent current. So I told you about two already. So there are many such things. Even by changing the capacitor size and all, you can really reduce the current consumption in deep sleep or during operation very low. Okay, let us have a look at the NodeMCU schematic. So this is the schematic, and here is the voltage regulator. Let me enlarge it. Okay, so this is SPX3819M5L33. 33 is stand for 3.3 volt battery. So if you go to this SPX data sheet, okay, so we can see this is a low dropout voltage regulator. Low dropout means it drops very low, very small voltage, 340 millivolt from the battery. So it will itself eat away 0.5 volt, almost 340 millivolt. I say around about 0.5 volt. So even when if your microcontroller run at 3.3 volts, so even when the battery is 3.8 volt, your microcontroller will run, but then it will stop running. But normally NodeMCU use this voltage regulator AMS 1117, and if you look at it, the dropout is almost 1 volt here. You can see here. So if your microcontroller needs 3.3, so even when your battery is 4.3 volt, but this will stop running because the microcontroller, the voltage regulator itself is dropping 1 volt. But the good side is this, it gives you almost 1 ampere of output current, which SPX will not offer. So it is there somewhere in the data sheet. I need to go through the whole data sheet to see that. But you see, it gives you low current limit, but it gives you very low quiescent current, which AMS 1117 will not give you. So that is what we need to take care. So when you choose your voltage regulators for your board, so it should be as per your purpose. Now let us see how software can help you increase your life. So now this device has started. You see it connected to the router and connecting to voicethings.com server. Okay, then it will send data and go to sleep. Okay, that's it. So during this time it is consuming more current for Wi-Fi, and once it go to sleep, it will consume very little. So if the connection time is long, so your server is slow, response time is slow, so that way it will take more current. So you see here it took a long time to get the data to server and get reply from your server. Now say I switch off the router. Why I switch off the router? Because maybe there is a power outage, so router is not working. So what your device is now doing, if you see this dot, it is keep on trying to connect to the router, and in this process it is losing a lot of charge. So if the current is not there for 1 hour, your device will keep looking for the router. So your device should be intelligent, so it should search maybe for 30 seconds and then understand something and save the data to memory, because it cannot send it now, and then go to sleep. So this kind of intelligence should be there in your devices. Otherwise, even with a good hardware, because of not doing enough good research work in software, your device will lose current and you will have a reduced battery life. And so that is with the software. Okay, so now we have come to the last part of our presentation. So in this where this yellow, where you can see, this is actually sensing the battery voltage and giving it to the analog pin, so that the voltage can be sent to the server. Okay, this kind of scenario comes up when say cell tower battery monitoring. So what is the battery health? Is it charged well, or somebody stolen it, so the voltage goes to 0? So it is used in such a use case. Okay, so even when so you are getting data every 1 hour maybe. Okay, so it's not required to get data every second. So what is happening in between when you are sleeping during this time? So what is happening here, you have this plus side, okay, connected through a voltage divider, okay, to your analog pin. So though your chip, the main microcontroller, is sleeping, but there is a constant current drain here, this drain. Okay, so but even during sleep, nobody can go and just remove this wire from here, and just before wake up he cannot put it back. So this will keep on draining during deep sleep even. So how to save that? So you can use this thing. So this is an example of hardware plus software kind of thing. So you can use a transistor here. So when your analog pin, say here, and your voltage is here, so what is need to be done? To activate the transistor, you supply this voltage from one of your microcontroller pins. So once your microcontroller wake up, only then this transistor is activated and this is sensed here. Otherwise, when it goes to sleep, there is no current here at the base, so there is a cutoff and there is no current drain. So this is an example of software plus hardware cases, how you can save current. So you should have your team, software and hardware team should have good interaction to achieve this kind of cases. Okay, so this can be many, not only for battery sensing. A transistor is good enough maybe for battery sensing, but for something, maybe here is another module which you cannot make sleep, and it consume more current. So in that case, if it is consuming more current, the transistors are not able to provide a very high current, so maybe you need to use a MOSFET. And then because you are activating this MOSFET gate using a logic level. Okay, so you should have a logic level MOSFET. These are called logic level MOSFET. Logic level MOSFET, what they do, actually you can provide at their gate a logic level voltage like up to 3.3 volt or 5 volt, and you can get RDS on. RDS on is resistance between drain and source when it is fully on. So this resistance here should be very minimum, so that your microcontroller can get a lot of current. So logic level MOSFET does that. With a gate voltage of only at a logic level, it can reduce this resistance so low that you can sense the whole current, whole voltage that is available here. Nothing drops here, almost everything is available to your module. Okay, so that is the way you can optimize some of your current. Okay, thanks. So this is it. I think it's a long one but a good one. So keep watching, and from today what we learned, there will be 3 more. So I think these 3 you will learn to know. First one is how to design such a good PCB, bare PCB, bare ESP8266, okay, with such low current. Number 2, how to split a code, okay, so that the main code become very easy, that we use today. And the third one is that this one. So when you sense a voltage at your analog pin, okay, so we are sensing some voltage in our analog pin, how to say what is the battery percentage remain from this reading of these curves. Okay, so we'll do them later. So we'll come up with 3. So running battery percent remain. Okay, we'll do them later. So keep watching and please subscribe. These are a lot good stuff, so keep watching. Thank you very much. Bye.